Oh, hello my friends. So we hit 1 million subs on the Med School Insiders channel. Kind of crazy. First of all, thank you to, yes, you watching, for subscribing, for supporting me and Med School Insiders for the last close to 4 years. As a way to celebrate, I figured, why don't I answer some of your questions? Stay tuned. All right, first up. If you were to describe your road to 1 million with one word, what would it be? Definitely consistency. So I started the YouTube channel in October of 2016, and I had a rule for myself. Every Saturday, 8 a.m., new video no matter what. And there were some nights, Friday night I would stay up late, 7 a.m. on Saturday morning. I'm still working on the video, still animating it. I was doing my own animations at that time. And it was a rule I had, and no one was enforcing it. If I missed it, nothing would have happened. But it was just a rule that I stuck to. And I didn't really compromise on that. Well, when I was in residency, there was several months when I didn't upload a single video. But before residency, after residency, I was just every Saturday, no matter what. And I do think that consistency isn't always very sexy, right? You just see the slow growth week after week, month after month. It's not this huge, exponential rise, but it works. Next up, will we ever meet the awesome woman who raised you? My mom is pretty awesome, and I do feature her from time to time on my Instagram, most recently for Mother's Day. Next up, please show me your timetable so I can learn the way you use your time, please. So a couple things here. First of all, I have gone over how I spent my time when I was studying for Step 1 in a previous video. I went over my time at the beginning of this whole global pandemic because I needed structure. I needed some regularity in my life in this chaos of the world. Your timetable, in my opinion, should vary based on the season and the priorities of your life. So right now, I am definitely much more unstructured. I am sleeping pretty late. I'm waking up pretty late most days. My priorities are getting sleep, getting a certain number of hours of work in per day, working out, etc. And I'm not trying to optimize my productivity to the same extent that I was maybe 6 or 10 months ago. So the key here would be to be very deliberate with your time. And if you want to have a more chill season, like I'm in right now, that's totally fine as long as you are deliberate about that. And then when you want to grind because you have finals coming up or the MCAT or Step 1, then be deliberate there too and understand that it's okay to go hard for 8 weeks, for 12 weeks, for a couple months. It's not gonna last forever. What is your primary source of income right now? How many sources of money do you have? 2 main sources of income. So we have Med School Insiders and then MEM. Within Med School Insiders, we have the services on our website. We have the YouTube AdSense. We occasionally do sponsorships. We have courses that we offer on our website as well. And then for MEM, it's a MCAT study tool where students can buy a subscription. Those are the 2 main sources of income. And in the future, maybe I'll do real estate. Maybe I'll do some other investments as well to add to the passive income portfolio. How to get out of vicious circles of unproductivity. The biggest thing here is understanding inertia. If you are in a state of not being productive for days, for weeks, it's really hard to get out of that rut. And similarly, when you have just been crushing it for weeks or months on end, and all of a sudden you have winter break or summer break, you're like, hold up. How do I spend this free time I have? I feel very strange. I'm sure a lot of you in med school in particular can relate to that feeling. To get out of a rut, I think it comes down to just breaking that cycle, right? How can you start being productive again, even just for a little bit of time? You're not trying to all of a sudden be productive for a marathon, you're just trying to be productive for a little small amount of time. So 2 things that I do. Number 1, Pomodoro technique. If I really don't want to study or get work done, I just tell myself 25 minutes, 1 task, no distractions, that's it. Don't have to work after those 25 minutes. That lowers the activation energy, the friction of doing any work at all. But then once I do that first Pomodoro block, I'm like, this isn't so bad after all. And then I can do another and just keep going after that. The second thing I do is listen to good music. So I have a Spotify study playlist. You can find the link down in the description. It's my playlist, so it's mostly instrumental electronica. There is a little bit of variation there, but it helps me just enjoy my work more, lowers that activation energy, and I'm more likely to just get to it. Do you believe a pre-med stoner could become a surgeon someday? Okay, a couple things. First of all, when you are in medical school, in residency, and as an attending physician, your institution is gonna do drug tests. And it's not worth it to be doing any substance, even if it is legal in your state, right? So if you are 25 in Nevada, it is totally legal to smoke marijuana or whatever recreationally, but it's probably not allowed at the hospital system. And if you are caught, then like game over. It's just not worth it. The risk profile is pretty terrible. The other thing is, obviously, I'm not saying you should do anything illegal. Like look at the laws in your jurisdiction, the age, the substances, et cetera, et cetera. What I do want to talk about though is that we all have vices, right? Whether that's someone likes alcohol or marijuana or binge watching Netflix or whatever it is, you want to do these things in moderation. You know, I know some doctors now who back when they were in college, yeah, sure, they enjoyed certain substances and they don't really anymore because again, of the risk profile of getting caught, but it was all about having it in check. So whatever that vice may be, like if you enjoy video games, it's probably not a good idea that you're so addicted to video games that you want to do it every day, even when you have a final tomorrow and you can't resist. But if you can find a way to keep those urges in check and have the discipline, have the structure to say, you know what, it's fine, I will play those video games later after I'm done studying or once I've taken this exam, you're just gonna have so much more longevity in anything that you want to do. I have this new sim racing rig in my bedroom and I got VR, right? VR headset. But I've only played it a couple times in the last few weeks that I've had it. Not because I don't like it. I mean, it's so much fun to use it and to play it, but it's more just a matter of I have other things that are more important that I need to take care of. What's your biggest fear? So when I was 18, I got sick with Crohn's disease, and that was a huge realization that our health is so fragile, life is so fragile, life is short too. And the fear that has kind of come up since then is not living my life to the fullest and wasting this beautiful opportunity. There's a lot of things I want to do and I feel like there's just not enough time. I want to work really hard and accomplish great things. I want to contribute and feel that what I'm doing in the world actually matters and is making an impact. I want to have some epic times on the racetrack. I want to have a family. I want to do all these things, and the fear is not being able to do it all or leaving stuff on the table and not enjoying this precious opportunity to its fullest. Do you use a planner? How do you schedule your tasks? Two things I do to organize my tasks and my time. One is Google Calendar, and that's kind of how everyone uses it to block out chunks of time for various tasks or events. And then second is Things 3, which is a to-do list manager that's on Apple products. I don't think it's on Windows. But the exact tools you use are actually less important. What's more important is how you use them. So for example, with my to-do list manager, I actually have a Google Calendar event that repeats every week, every Sunday. I review Things 3. And the reason is that everyone always falls behind on their to-do list manager. We always think we can do more in a single day than we actually can. And if you let that snowball, it becomes this big mess. And then the actual effectiveness of that to-do list then decreases. So for me, it's very important that every week I clear it out, I reprioritize tasks, I reschedule tasks, etc., so that it doesn't become this amorphous, like, oh my God, overwhelming blob of things to do. So I can look at it, know what I need to get done, and then move on. So I'm actually using my calendar to remind me to handle my to-do list. In another life, what would your profession be? First choice, totally Formula One race car driver. That would be the dream. When I was 17, beginning of college, I was considering computer science. So my brother's a few years older than me. He actually went down, he became a programmer. And when I was in high school, I took AP Comp Sci, A and AB. And he said, hey, Kevin, you have a knack for this. You enjoy it. Like, this is totally what you should do. It's great. And I liked it, but also liked biological sciences. I got sick with Crohn's. And then I figured, hey, this is my sign. My calling is medicine. I'm going to do that. If I could do it all again, I mean, neuroscience was a pretty dope major, but maybe do computer science and be pre-med and then go to medical school and then, combine your programming skills with medicine. And I think that would have been a lot of fun. I also think venture capital would be really fun because you get to mentor people, you're gonna learn about new technologies, it's exciting. I think a lot of innovation and startups and just new businesses, new ideas can be pretty invigorating, pretty energizing. That's actually what made me fall in love with entrepreneurship in the first place. With BlueLink, we closely modeled it after Stanford's Biodesign, biomedical incubator, essentially helping people create healthcare startups. Okay, this guy is obviously trolling, but this is a common sentiment that comes up with young guys. And I do want to actually address this. A lot of young guys, they chase girls, and that's just not a good use of your energy. If you instead, rather than having, girls being your primary goal and objective, if you make it a secondary, and instead your primary is just working on yourself, whether that's getting better grades, improving your physique and working out, honing your discipline, improving your confidence, your public speaking, like, focus on building yourself, focus on building the life that you want, and then the girls will follow. Your future partner, whether it's a guy or a girl, it'll fall into place. If you keep chasing that as your primary aim, you're less likely to actually get what you want. What were some of the sacrifices you had to make to get to where you are today? A couple things come up. First, I'd say my college wasn't nearly as social as the average person. I worked pretty hard. So I had to sacrifice some of that to do well on my MCAT get good grades, things like that, and get into a good med school. And as a result, some of my friendships actually suffered in college. So at the beginning of college, I had my crew. There's actually a few of us guys. And once I got sick, I actually didn't really want to hang out much, especially at the dining commons. You tend to socialize over food, but I was eating straight up like white rice, white potatoes, and chicken breast with salt. It was so bland because there was a lot of inflammation. You couldn't really upset the GI tract with anything else. And some of my friends during that time didn't really understand, and they took it a little bit more personally that I didn't want to hang out with them. And I lost some friends, and that's okay. It's a learning experience. It's about me understanding myself, about understanding other people. And I know in residency and in med school, I had to use a lot of my time off. I'm not sure if this is really a sacrifice, but I had to use a lot of my time off for like health reasons, getting an infusion or like taking care of my body. It wasn't just a matter of me being able to unwind and relax like everyone else, because I do have to get infusions every 6 to 8 weeks. I do have to sometimes eat different foods or like, get a colonoscopy and do the bowel prep the day before and then, recover the day of and things like that. So what's your favorite pastime or hobby? I take so much pleasure in those activities that force me to be present. And the biggest thing for me right now is essentially tracking my car. I used to do autocross back in med school. That means you have this big open parking lot and you have cones and you make a little miniature racetrack and you drive your car. It's a time trial. So you're not actually racing other cars at the same time. You're going as quickly as you can, and you look at the times at the end and compare those. And after you do that for some time, then you graduate up to track days. And I've been doing track days now, which, man, it's like, I think it's the most fun that you can have legally. Part of me getting a sim rig is actually related to me wanting to improve my skill in that domain. So I can put on the VR headset, I have my wheel and my pedals and my shifter and all that stuff, and I can simulate some real world racetracks and then get better at hitting the apex, at understanding various courses, things like that. How has the YouTube channel changed you for the better? I think I'm a pretty impatient person. Like I'll be upfront about that. I think a lot of people that go into surgery are impatient by default. YouTube has made me more patient with people in a way. I've always had relatively tough, thicker skin, but the first time you get a troll, well, it depends on what the troll comment is, but over time, I've begun to more like embrace the trolls and either find them to be pretty entertaining or gotten a lot better at finding the kernel of truth amidst the anger and the hate and stuff like that to actually extract value from the negativity. It's probably also helped me have more compassion for those who get a lot of negative press. So it's kind of amazing to me how easily you can trigger people online, because with the internet you can reach so many people, so the likelihood of you offending someone with a joke or with something you said is pretty high. And it's helped me just understand how people will take what you say and try to spin it into something more and more negative. And luckily that hasn't really happened to me, but I've seen it to other content creators. One key thing that I think was already there, but definitely was reinforced, was this idea that I can learn how to do anything. And I think it's a very empowering idea. A lot of us, the further we go on in life and the more we narrow our lane into a single domain, we think that we can't do other things. And I've believed that, most things that we think are, talent or skill or you're born with, you can actually learn. Like I can learn to be a better public speaker, and I did Toastmasters for a few years back. You can learn to improve your dexterity if you want to become a surgeon. There's a lot of things that you can learn. YouTube was like so out of my domain. I never had a camera growing up. That was like my brother's thing. My brother liked the cameras. I was just neuroscience and then med school, and like, who am I to start a YouTube channel? And this is not the biggest, baddest, most amazing, most successful YouTube channel by any means, but it's exceeded my expectations. And it's reinforced this idea that even if I may not think I'm good at something, if I apply myself, I can probably get a lot better at it. And obviously there's still a lot of room for growth and for improvement with what I'm doing on YouTube, but it's a constant journey. It's a fun process to see where you start from, and then to see where you're at right now, and then to see where you could be in the future, what you can work towards. All right, last question. Advice for students to focus on their goals and do what it takes to achieve them. I think oftentimes people can set these lofty goals, but they get intimidated by just the sheer magnitude of this goal and how far they need to go. They start here and like, wow, how am I gonna get all the way over there? And I think if you break it down into just small bite-sized habits, small routines, or things that you need to work on a daily basis, that makes it much more approachable. Let's say theoretically you wanted to start a YouTube channel, then it wouldn't be, oh my God, I need to do 200 videos and have, X number of subscribers. And it's just a matter of, okay, I need to make a single video. And it's not gonna be good, it's not gonna be amazing, but I'm gonna do one, and I'm gonna try to be a little bit better the next time, and a little bit better the next time. And you keep doing that again and again and again, and then the next thing you know, it's snowballed, and you look a few years back and you say, oh wow, I've improved, I've made some progress. So take the big goal, make it into these smaller projects that you can work on one at a time, like sequentially, and take each of those and see what can you do every day to work towards them. Make it more, take something big and make it just more bite-sized. All right, guys, that is it for the questions today. I did another AMA answering some more juicy questions, so check that one out, and I will see you guys in that next one.